Welcome back to Chapter 10 in Robbie Miata's approach to achieving your success, Mayors. I have called in yet another expert, Dr. Nimbus, to talk about tornadoes. And you might ask me, Robbie Miata, what would a tornado ever have to do with achieving my success, Mayors? And I used to feel the same way, I will be very honest, but until I got a little bit of expert understanding. So with that in mind, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Nimbus. Dr. Nimbus, are you able to take a moment away from your studies?
Absolutely. That's a ham sandwich on bologna 3. Thank you. Absolutely. So I study, of course, I'm a cyclone expert, and I have been studying cyclones for quite some time. Here we have a diagram of the cyclone here. You can see that it's a funnel shape. It's essentially a triangle, if you look at it that way, but three-dimensional, as a cyclone tends to be. You also see, of course, some equations here, which the layman's won't understand the equations. But
could you explain, Dr. Nimbus, why x? What is x going on? X is not equal to cyclone.
X is not equal to cyclone because X does not understand cyclone, and I think that's really, that really sums up everything you need to know. That's very important because X would want to equal Z, and Z would equal cyclone, but unfortunately X does not equal Z, which is cyclone here.
Thank you.
Is very
Thank you. That's very informative.
You're welcome. So I also have like a diagram of not failing here, because sometimes you can see that in the cyclone. There are aromatic compounds here. This graph is what's important. So this graph is showing a accumulation of cumulus clouds, nimbus clouds, lots of different kind of clouds, and then you see them drop. And the drop that you see here is them actually becoming a accumulation of lots of different kinds of clouds all together in a dangerous cyclone. And this downward spiral that you see here means danger, essentially. I don't want to bore you with the details as a scientist, but to the layman, this downward spiral means a literal downward spiral.
So can we relate this graph? I'm sorry, I don't mean to ask these stupid, heavy-handed questions to someone of your expertise, but for everyone that's watching that is a moron, can we relate this to profits? Because I do see a P here in your formula.
The P actually does stand for profit. That was a good eye. That's very smart. So the P that you see here does stand for profits. And also the dollar sign as well does signify profits here. And so what you see is that Z is equal to mu is equal to profits. And that just depends on what kind of business that you're coming from. If you're looking for damage control, if you are looking for hail damage, if you are a repairman, then absolutely these cyclones, although they do inflict much damage, they will increase your profits.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you're in another kind of business, they might really hurt your business.
So what you're trying to tell me is that this graph might be an inverse relationship for someone that's in the hail damage industry, whereas as it is reflected right now for a puppy mill, so to speak,
yes,
when all the puppies get sucked up, yes, they would be, then you would be looking at a profit loss.
Very true. Very good eye. So here, this is an example of a puppy mill in which puppies, when they get extracted into the cyclone, that is not very good for puppy mills. However, if you were doing damage control,
you might hedge your bets with kitty factories that are more established in concrete or something of that nature.
Also with cattle, because they tend to be heavier.
They're heavier,
yes. They can really, withstand a cyclone event.
And you can tie them to a fence post or...
Very true. So my advice for business owners, as say a puppy mill, would be if you don't want this downward spike, you might want to tether your puppies to some kind of stable, sometimes tetherball. Sometimes there are tetherball places at puppy mills.
Uh-huh.
And you would
keep a straight face.
And you would literally tether them with the tetherball to ropes and things with their paws, so they would stay there, so you wouldn't lose sight of your product. Whereas cows, cattle, things like that, if you have a dairy farm, you wouldn't really have to tether them because the cows don't tend to move with the tornadoes quite so often.
No pun intended.
Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you again, Dr. Nimbus, for giving us some consultations on the matter. What I would say is that I think in terms of the Robbie...
No laughing matter.
It is no laughing matter, including a laughing cow.
Exactly.
But as always with the Robbie Miata approach, I always encourage our viewers to just remember that we do not give you financial advice, only financial encouragement. And in the case of these tornadoes, they can be volatile. They can come through. As Dr. Nimbus said, they can roll through a puppy mill and take all of your puppy profits from you. So the thing to remember is that at the end of the day, you need to diversify your investments. And that is the key to getting yourself where I am on the sunny beaches of Costa Rica and achieving your success, Mares.
And many of my clients, just a last bit, have invested in lizards or snails or any kind of invertebrates because those are really tethered down. They're in the soil.
They're not aerodynamic.
Right, they're not aerodynamic. They don't float very well. They don't move through the sky very quickly. So that is a really good kind of, a business venture to invest in if you are in an area that is affected by cyclones. So that's my advice for sure.
Well, thank you again for your consultations as always, Dr. Nimbus. And again, here we are again on the sunny beaches of Costa Rica. You can always reach out to me, and all of this information will be available at our seminars that we have. So thank you again for being a client of Robbie Miata, and look forward to seeing you again very soon.